about men having, like men never being able to get over their first love. So I feel like men always have the one that got away, but women don't really. Like, whenever I feel like I've moved on from a relationship, I mean, I've only had like one serious relationship, but I feel like I've been able to like fully heal from that and move on. Whilst I feel like I've heard a lot of men speak about how they're never able to move on. So maybe I feel like women's emotional response is greater in the moment. Men's is kind of like lived out longer, if that makes sense.
I'll say as a
I was going to ask you as a guy.
Yeah, you are a man.
Do you think that's a thing?
I don't think that's the thing. I think it's more so discipline amongst the person itself. Like, if you do not want to get over that first love that you ever had, that is a choice that you've made.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, people will go, oh, I can't do it, I can't get over them, they're the love of my life. But really and truly, if that person's out of your life, you've made a choice as to whether you want to detach from them or you want to keep that feeling. Because that feeling can be very addictive in its own right. So people wanting to keep it, I totally understand. But more so, is it conducive for the next relationship? Do you know that it's going to be bad for the relationship? And are you willing to make the changes necessary in order to ensure that doesn't happen or it doesn't affect your next relationship?
Right.
I agree.
Yes, I agree. I think it depends on the person, and that common. I think it's because you are confident and you know who you are. There's a lot of people, they don't know who they are, and they don't self-love themselves enough. So that's why they kind of like they are stuck. Like, oh my God, this is my first love.
I don't think self-love is like a thing.
It is a thing. No, I do self-love myself. What?
No, I think it's like every time I hear a girl talk about self-love, respectfully, this is offensive.
I don't get offended, but I'm just like, what?
Every time I hear a girl talk about self-love, it's just like her making excuses for poor behavior at times.
Well, that's the thing is like, you know, that's the problem with all these buzzwords that start going crazy in social media, like self-love. Like self-love and narcissism, and I just feel like there's so many buzzwords that just get a bad rep because people just regurgitate them in order to like, it's the same thing with astrology and spirituality and all of this. Like, these are not inherently bad things. It's just like certain people use it as a way to you know, like justify their bad behavior, and it just like makes it look bad for everybody. But I do feel like self-love is necessary. I mean, if you don't have that, then you're just gonna make choices out of fear, like, because when you live through self-love, you live through truly like valuing yourself and making choices that are good for you and trying to maintain yourself away from a fear-based mentality, which is what we were talking about earlier, which I feel like conduces to the bad choices, you know.
And I also believe that if you self-love, then you do not seek validation from people.
Yes.
You actually know what's your worth. You actually know what you need and what is yourself. At least you understand yourself better. You understand your needs. So you do not seek for someone to tell you, oh, you look nice today. Oh, I like you, or something like that. You actually know your worth. So you wouldn't even lower your expectations, as you said earlier. And also you will understand where you're standing at the moment. I'm not saying self-love as if you're the best person or just like reach a point to arrogance, but at least you know where you stand at the moment, so you can understand that you don't need someone, or you do not seek anything from someone else, if that makes sense.
So this is just like my experience with self-love, like girls that spout this. It's like usually just okay to be delusional and like kind of outpace where they're actually at in life. Like, for example, they'll say, oh, I love myself. I don't deserve. I'm gonna reject these guys. Like I'm above them in some way. They kind of insinuate.
That's the thing,
right?
So,
But to me, it's like if those are the guys that are approaching you and interested in you, that's what you deserve, because that's what you're worth. Is like what you're like. How can I say, like, if I don't get offered a job that's $100,000, how can I say, oh, I'm worth $100,000? But girls will be like, oh, I'm 300 pounds, but I'm worth a guy that makes 6 figures and is 6 feet tall and is all this stuff. But if you don't have those men approaching you, like, how can you say you deserve them?
That's the thing. So self-love shouldn't reach a certain point that you would think that you're beyond everyone or you're above everything. It should be limited, because anything excessive is wrong, right? So you should know what your expectations are, and you should know what you're worth, at least what what you expect from people. Do not go beyond everything. And if someone comes and is perfect for you, you'll be in a state that'll be like, nah, I need someone better. Do not reach that state, but reach a state where you do not need someone that would treat you badly, but still be like, oh no, because he said that. Okay, I'm going with him, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
right?
and I feel like if you're coming into dating from a self-love perspective, if you're doing it from like what you just said, like feeling like, oh, I love myself, so I deserve a guy that's 6 foot and rich, it's like, well, that's not really self-love. That's like being superficial.
Right.
But that's what feminism has taught people, is that if you love yourself and you think you deserve that high value man, go for it. Even if you are not in that same caliber or doing the things that you need to do to be with that man and keep that man. It just has taught us that self-love, you can put yourself on a pedestal, and whatever you think you deserve, that's exactly, even if it's astronomical, out of this world, just unrealistic, it's okay. You can do it because of feminism. Well, that's what I think.
Well, and the other thing I was going to add is, like, when you go into a relationship, it's not about you. Like, it's about, like, what guy wants to date a girl that's all about me? Because most of the girls that spout self-love are selfish, is in my experience. And you guys,
but that's the thing.
Maybe this room is the exception. I don't know. But in my experience, like with those girls, like typically it's about me. They don't have anything to offer to a guy outside of hooking up. They don't cook. They don't clean. They don't like do any of the things.
I don't cook. I
don't clean.
Right, but Cardi B, that's a perfect example of someone who would say something like that. But she does cook. I know.
She actually did a video, and Offset was like filming her.
That's probably one
and she was actually cleaning the floor at her grandma's house.
But that's the thing,
she's very humble.
A lot of these women say they don't need men and talk down on men in their music, but like back home, what are they doing? Like Cardi B, she like her music, I don't cook, I don't clean, but yet she's married. She goes back to the cheater.
She has money. She can hire a cleaner.
She can.
No, but she's a businesswoman.
What the message she's promoting.
Yeah.
The message she's promoting is you don't need to cook. You don't need to clean.
But that, I think that line comes from like back in the day, like women, they were just meant to be doing that, you know? And they were just being perceived as that, as housewives, as cleaners, as mothers, and shut up and you don't do anything else. And you don't say and you have no power. And that's unfair, you know? And that's why I think it came from there.
I don't think it's that deep personally in regards to those lyrics. She's, in my opinion, saying, I don't cook, I don't clean because I don't have to. Like, we're talking about wet ass.
Yeah, but let me tell you how I got this ring.
Right? So I don't
my
think
WAP.
What you're saying is true. Yeah, back in the day, women did take on that domestic role. But for that context, she's basically shedding light on the fact of you don't even need to be able to do the things that you should want to do for yourself. Forget a relationship, a husband. You should be able to do that as a bare minimum for yourself. So
all you need is what she's talking about.
I think it's about the culture though.
Yeah.
Because you know what that song sounds like? It sounds like I'm not doing it for a guy. Like, I think we can, like, try to wrap it around to that it's not, but come on, like...
But you are very in favor in men in a relationship, but I think when you are in a relationship, it has to go both ways.
Oh.
It's not just me cleaning and cooking.
Oh, no.
It's not just me cleaning myself, and it's not just me dirtying the house, you know, it's both. Both have to help. Or we hire a cleaner.
I go, but here's the thing.
I don't know. Let's do that.
I go both ways. I tell women, leave the bums. If your guy's not working, get out. Like, leave him. Like, don't stay with a bum ass dude. But I think it's both ways. Like with women, like I have brothers, and I think it's important that they have standards for women outside of just being pretty and like looking nice, and like we should try to earn that the men that we want to be with.